Okay, we left off on the bottom of page 8-25. It says using the data in the table, create an invoice for each reservation. For each invoice, type the following message in the section at the bottom called message on invoice. So we have a list of invoices that we're going to create. We have 2 Astro Jetson, 1 Elroy, 1 George, 1 Jane, and 1 Judy. And the message that we're going to put on each is the balance on your account is due on the day you check in. If you need to cancel your reservation, you must do so within 48 hours to receive a full refund. Thank you for your business. So we want to navigate to our sales dashboard. Want to make sure that we're on our guest tab. And again, the first guest we want is Astro Jetson, which is listed here. We're going to select Create Invoice. We have first the product service is going to be Austin 1 bedroom plus loft. Description is 7 days, check-in 8/16. So we're going to update that. Let's see, we want our due date to be 8/16. We'll just leave it as let's see, the due date. Okay, their invoice date was 8/12. So their due date was 8/16. So just make it 4 days after the invoice date. So I'm going to make mine September 11th. Then we have, let's see, our property. Oops. Where is their property location? Okay. For some reason, my Texas properties is not showing up here. Oops. Let me exit out of this real quickly and make sure that my properties are turned on. Track classes, track locations, all turned on. Location label I have as property. All right, let me go back to all lists and my locations. And they are listed here. All right, just had to double check. Let me go back into Astro Jetson invoice. Still not showing. All right, I'll just have to type it in. All right, so that due date I'm going to make the 11th again. Property, service, Austin 1 bedroom plus loft. Description 7 days. Check-in 8/16. And I know the dates are off because I'm working in September right now, but don't worry about that. All right. All right. From that location drop down, I'm going to enter Texas properties. It says it exists, but it won't let me select it. We'll go Texas. And then we have the amount of $1,400. We have a deposit of $700. And remember, once you click away from that deposit, it's going to bring up the option of payment method. So you have to enter that deposit before you get your option here to input this. Reference number, we're going to do 98765. You can keep business checking account selected there. And go ahead and we're going to hit save and new because we have another one for Astro Jetson. So that's 1003 invoice. It brings us to 1004 now. We're going to do Astro. Product service this time is going to be Hollywood House. And the description, 5 days, check-in 10/1. With an amount of $2,500. Look at that, now they come up. All right, we're going to choose California from this properties. And the deposit is going to be $1,250. Click away from that. We get our payment method, which is credit card. Reference number is 98765. Oh, and one thing I did forget to do on the first one is add that message field. So the balance on your account is due on the day you check in. If you need to cancel your reservation, you must do so within 48 hours to receive a full refund. Thank you for your business. I'm actually going to highlight all of this, Control C, so I can paste it into my other ones. All right, I'm going to make sure I have everything listed here. Just double check. The due date for this was 10/1. We'll just list it as they have it. And we're going to hit save and new. Invoice 1004 is saved. Our next guest is going to be Elroy. Austin 2-bedroom plus loft. Description, 5 days, check-in 8:31. with an amount of $2,000. Deposit is $1,000. Payment is credit card with reference number of 12345, and the location is Texas Properties. So now that we have that, we'll go ahead and select it. I'll go back to that first invoice and see if it will let me edit it to Texas Properties instead of Texas. And I'm going to click on message on invoice, and I do Control V to paste that message in there. All right, and the due date for this is 8/31. We'll go ahead and just make it the 12th, make it a few days after, and save and new again. Next one is going to be George Jetson. Product, Malibu 2-bedroom plus loft. Description, 10 days, check-in 10/15. With an amount of $6,000. And a deposit of $3,000. Payment method is credit card. Reference number is 45678. And a location of California Properties. Go ahead and paste that message to the invoice. And due date will make 10/15. Go ahead and click Save and New. Next customer is going to be Jane Jetson. Product Service Austin House. Description, 10 days. Check-in of 9/15. Amount 6,000. Deposit 3,000. Payment is credit card. Reference number 54321. Location is Texas Properties. Go ahead and paste your message in to the bottom left. Save and new. Oh, what's our due date? Our due date was 9/15. Save and new. Invoice 1007 is saved. And our last one is going to be Judy Jetson. Product service is Hollywood. Hollywood 1-bedroom plus loft. Description, 7 days. Check-in 9:30. Amount is going to be $1,050 with a deposit of $525. Payment method credit card. Reference number 65432. Due date is 9/30. And the location is going to be California properties. Go ahead and paste your invoice message to the bottom. And this time we're going to hit save and close. Now I want to go back and see if I can edit that first invoice for Astro Jetson. So this isn't in the book. This is just an error that I occurred as doing the exercises. I'm going to click on the Invoices tab. And I want that invoice for Astro Jetson for $1,400. So here we have Astro Jetson, that's 1003. Let me go ahead and click edit for this. It does allow me to open it up. So remember I created that new location because it wasn't coming up. These two weren't originally. So I'm going to just go ahead and click Texas Properties. And I also forgot to add my message in there. So I can click in there, Control V, and update that. All right, so just in case you make a mistake, you can always go back and edit them as well, because it does happen. But I did add a new location in there that I don't necessarily need. I'm going to go ahead and save and close this. And that has been updated for me. But let me go back up into my locations. Remember how we set them up. Let's see if we're able to delete that one that I created. I'm going to hit on my gear icon, go to All Lists, Locations, and you can see now we have 3 created here. If I select Texas, let's see if I'm able to delete it. How about we make it active? Let's do that. Are you sure you want to make Texas inactive? I'm going to go ahead and click yes. So at least now it doesn't show up in my options here. Now, if I was to go and create an invoice, let's see if it would still pop up in my options. Let's go to New Invoice. That does still show up there. That's all right. At least we made it inactive. Maybe it will stop showing up in the future. All right, I'm going to close out of that. And now we're going to see how to run some reports. So after entering data into QuickBooks, it's a good idea to review your work for accuracy. In the next section, we will cover how to run several reports that allow you to do that. So first we're going to do our customer and sales reports. One of the many benefits of using QuickBooks Online is access to a number of reports that you can generate in just a few minutes. It's important to review certain reports on a regular basis to see how your business is doing overall. In addition, there are reports that you can review to ensure the accuracy of your data. There are 2 primary groups of reports that pertain to customers and sales, and the Who Owes You group. The Who Owes You report group includes reports that will help you to stay on top of outstanding customer invoices, like the Accounts Receivable Aging Detail Report. Whereas the Customers and Sales group includes various sales reports, such as the Sales by Product Service. In this section, we will cover 5 key reports: Sales by Guest Detail, Accounts Receivable Aging Detail, Open Invoices, Sales by Product Services Summary, and the Sales by Property Summary. And we will start with the Sales by Guest Detail Report. The Sales by Guest Detail Report lays out all the sales you have recorded in QuickBooks Online by guest or customer. It includes the transaction type, the transaction number, the product service sold, a memo description if applicable, the amount, and the payment method. After entering a batch of invoices or sales receipts, as you did in the previous practice exercises, It's a good idea to run this report to review the data for accuracy. So right now we're going to run the sales by guest detailed report. In our left navigation bar, we're going to click on our reports option. And this opens up our reports dashboard. And here we have three main sections. They're listed right here on these three tabs. We have our standard reports, custom reports, and management reports. Standard reports is where you will find all of the pre-built reports included with your QuickBooks Online subscription. The custom reports tab is used to add reports that you have customized so that you don't have to recreate them. And lastly, the management reports section includes reporting packages of the financial reports typically reviewed on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. So we want to go to our standard tab, and you can see we have different sections here. We can scroll down. We want to find the sales and customer section, which is located here, and we want to click on sales by guest detail. So this is our first option here. We're going to click on that link, and the sales by guest detailed report for luxury lodging displays. Now, I told you before I like to work in my classic view, so I'm going to switch to the classic view button. And this also matches up with your textbook a little better, so it may help you as well. Before reviewing this report to ensure the accuracy of the invoices you created in the previous practice exercise, we will customize it to add the payment method and the reference number. So we're going to click on our gear icon, our settings for our report, and then we want to select the Show More link that's located here. It's going to show additional options for us. And we want to put a check mark in the reference number field and also the payment method field. So these are going to add columns on our report for these two particular fields. So if you click outside of that display box now, it'll automatically update. And you can see now we also have the column for reference number and payment method as well. And it says to scroll up to the top of the report center and for the report period. So that's located here. We're going to select custom. And the from date, we want July 12th. Now I'm working in 2024, so of course my year is different. And I mean, the dates all around are different because you're going to be entering them on your current date. I'm entering it the beginning of September. So you may have to play with the dates a little bit, depending on when you're working on this particular exercise. I'm going to select Run Report. And to keep the customizations that I have made for this report, I need to save them. I'm going to click on the Save Customization button. And it asks me to name this custom report name. And we want to name it Luxury Lodging Guest Detail. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And then we want to, if you get this pop-up, you can close out of it. And then we want to download the report as a PDF to save our report to our computer. So to do that, you want to click the drop down arrow here next to the gear icon, and we're going to export to PDF. We're going to hit save as PDF. You can see it downloads here. We click on the file icon that opens up next to it. It's going to take us to where it's located. Remember that it automatically saves to your downloads folder. I do not have access to your downloads folder. So what I want you to do is right click on that. You want to cut the file. Then you're going to navigate to your home drive, your QuickBooks Online folder. Go ahead and open up Chapter 8. Right click in any empty space, and you're going to paste that file there. All right. So I will be able to make sure that your work lined up with that. All right, on page 833 in the caution section, it says compare the sales by guest detail report to table with the invoices that you created at the top of page 26 to ensure that everything is correct. The total invoice amount on your report should be $18,950. So you can close out of this save screen. And you can see that mine does not add up. I have $25,950. So I would have to go back and find my mistake here. Let's see. I have two invoices for Astro. See, mine's also showing the $3,000 sales receipt for $3,000. Again, this might have to do with the dates that we ran as well, because we should have two invoices for Astro. One for Elroy, one for George, one for Jane, and one for Judy. So we actually only want to show those ones that we did at the top of page 226. So we don't want these two first ones. So that's a total of $7,000. So if I was to subtract that 7,000 from the 25,950, it would be a total of $18,950. Okay, so we do have the correct amounts there. It's just showing two extras. So you can see on the top of page 8-31, it shows that sales invoice for $3,000, and it also shows under George Jetson the $4,000 as well. So that does play into the dates, because you can see the dates for those two particular transactions were July 8th. And remember, we made a custom from July 12th. So if our dates had lined up, this would actually show $18,950. All right, so if you need me to check your transactions, just make sure you save that PDF in your Chapter 8 folder and I will take a look at it. But again, it all plays down to the dates here. All right, now on page 833, the Accounts Receivable Aging Summary Report. The Accounts Receivable Aging Summary Report provides a breakdown of all open invoices grouped by the number of days that they are past due. This report should be reviewed on a weekly basis to avoid invoices becoming delinquent. So we're going to follow the steps to generate the Accounts Receivable Aging Summary Report. So we want to go back to our Reports Center. We're going to scroll down to the Who Owes You group. So that should be the second or third group, Who Owes You. And we're going to select the Accounts Receivable Aging Summary. Make sure you're selecting the correct one because some of the names are quite similar. So Accounts Receivable Aging Summary, we're going to click on that. And our report does display here. As mentioned previously, the AR Aging Summary Report groups invoices based on how long they have been outstanding. There are 5 groups: current, 1 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 days and over. Invoices listed in the current group have not reached their due date. Invoices in the 31 to 60 day group have remained unpaid for 31 to 60 days past their due date. Invoices in the 61 to 90 day group have remained unpaid for 61 to 90 days past their due date, and invoices that are 91 days or more past their due date make up the final group. You should generate an AR aging summary at least once a week and contact customers with invoices past due 31 days or more. The longer an invoice remains unpaid, the more likelihood that it will never be paid. It's best to avoid this situation altogether by sending customers a reminder email, which you can set up QuickBooks Online to do automatically. You can refer back to Chapter 4 for instructions how to set up automatic payment reminders. So you can see all of our invoices, all of our accounts receivable are current. So this is what is currently owed to us. Now we have the open invoices. The open invoices report is a list of all open invoices by customer or guest in Larry's case. It also includes invoice details such as invoice date, transaction type, invoice number, payment terms, due date, and open balance. So we're going to go back to our report center. Again, we're going to scroll down to the Who Owes You section. And this time we're going to select Open Invoices. So our Open Invoices report displays here. And on page 8-35 in the middle, that second screenshot, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of that picture, you have an arrow there pointing to $9,475. Make sure that matches with what you have on your Open Invoices report as well. So in addition to the standard fields that appear on this report, property is also included on the report. So you can see we have our Texas properties and California properties. I'm going to switch over to Classic View again. This is just what I prefer. So again, you have your properties. It's broken up by your customers and your open balance $9,475. The report provides you with the level of detail required if you wanted to see invoice detail, which is not included on the AR Aging Summary report. And again, your report should have total open invoices of $9,475 as indicated in the above image. If you do not, please fix this error before you proceed. If you cannot figure out what the issue is, again, Save a PDF in your home drive so I can access it, and just let me know and I'll take a look at where I see the error. Our next report, we have sales by product service summary report. The sales by product service summary report includes total sales for each product or service that you sell. It also includes the percent of sales so that you can easily identify those products and services that are contributing to the bottom line versus those that are not. So we're going to take steps below to generate a sales by product service summary report. I'm going to navigate back to our report center. We want to scroll down to the sales and customers section. And in this section, we want to select sales by product service summary, which I have here. I'm going to click to open that. And from the report period dropdown, we want to select all dates. And click the Run Report button. Just make sure that's updated to include all of our sales by product. And our report displays here. This report shows total sales, again, which we had shown on our other as well, $25,950. The product that has the most sales, we can see percent of sales, which has the most, 34.68%, and that's going to be the Austin House. And that shows an amount of $9,000. The product with the lowest sales, we can see by looking, is going to be the Hollywood 1-bedroom plus loft property at $1,050 or 4.05%. Again, make sure your figures match up here. If they don't, save the PDF in your Chapter 8 folder and just send me an email and let me know that you're having an issue. This report should be reviewed as often as possible to help understand what products and services are selling versus those that are not. Next, we have our sales by property summary report. If you turn on the class location or property tracking feature, you will have access to reports like sales by property summary. This report can give you insight into which properties are doing well and which are not doing so well. This information can help you create a strategy for those properties that are not doing as well as expected. We're going to go back to our reports center, scroll down to our sales and customers group. And from here, we want to select sales by property summary. Ours is actually going to be listed. Remember, it doesn't call it property anymore. We have sales by location summary. So look for either of those names. We want to select all dates from our dropdown, run report. Based on the information shown in the report, the California properties are doing just slightly better than the Texas properties. So that's shown in these first two lines here. You can see California, $9,550 versus Texas, $9,400. However, there is a third category called not specified on our third line here. If you see this on your report, it means that there are sales that were recorded, but a property was not specified. You will need to go back to those transactions and specify a property so this report will accurately reflect the sales total. And we will cover this part next. And that is in our modifying existing sales transaction from a report. You can modify transactions by drilling down on them within any QuickBooks report. By clicking once on the transaction amount, you can drill all the way down to the source document. Follow the steps listed to drill down on the transactions that make up the unspecified amount in the sales by property summary report for luxury lodging. So we want to click once on the amount in the report. In our example, that would be our $7,000 on the not specified line. So if we click on that $7,000, our transaction report displays. And we see there is a sales receipt for $3,000 and an invoice for $4,000 that make up the unspecified property amount. So you can remember that these particular two transactions we created before we actually made the property label. So they were not tied to any specific property. We're going to click once on the sales receipt amount for $3,000. Just click on that amount, and it actually opens up that first sales receipt that we created. So we did not have this field prior to creating our locations. We're going to select that drop down, and we're going to tie this to Texas properties. And it wants us to hit save and close, but it looks like I'm getting an error message for whatever reason. You can see something's not working. Try refreshing the page and check back. Let me try to close this out, leave without saving, and let me try to open that up again. And still, something's not working. Let's try our next one. All right, this one is tied to California properties. So I'm going to, and that was invoice 1002. I'm going to save and close that. The transaction you are editing is linked to others. Are you sure you want to modify it? You can click yes. And you can see that has been removed on the not specified transaction report. Let me go back into that $3,000 one again. For whatever reason, it's not allowing me to update this. Hopefully you have better luck. Let me go back to our report summary listed here. You can see the not specified for me has been decreased to $3,000. Let me try to open that again. Does not want me editing this at all. Just trying to see if I could go back in another way and edit it. Let's see. That's the sales by property summary report. Alright, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to save that to a property. It's okay. At least I was able to do one of them. Maybe in time I can go back and edit that. But at least I was able to update that last one so you can see that it does decrease. So if I was to be able to change this one, I could go back to the report summary and that not specified would no longer be listed here, and the Texas properties would be increased by the 3,000. So if you are able to change yours, California should be 13,550 and Texas should be 12,400 for your totals. All right, so that is the end of chapter 8. The next video is going to be the practice exercise on page 8-43.